WFRV TV Local 5 presents a special edition of Local 5 News at 6, Veterans Voices. This program is brought to you with limited commercial interruption by Georgia Pacific, making life's simple necessities, and WPS Health Insurance, Consolidated Construction Company, Keller Builders, and Window World. And now, Tom Zalaski and Aaron Davison.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the special edition of Local 5 News at 6. Yesterday was the 100th anniversary of the signing of the armistice that ended World War I.
Ceremonies and remembrances were held across the country in honor of our servicemen and women. Yesterday, a wreath was laid at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Arlington National Cemetery. The tomb is a monument dedicated to U.S. service members who have died without their remains being identified. This year's wreath was laid by United States Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Robert Wilkie.
In Appleton, veterans, politicians, and community members joined together to honor veterans and remember those lost in battle or those who never returned home.
Alexandra Burnley brings us the story from the Outagamie County Courthouse.
As church bells rang out in the city to commemorate the 100-year anniversary of the end of World War I, a service was underway in Appleton honoring our veterans. What's special about having this many veterans gathered together in one room is the amount of history between them. Some served in World War II, others Vietnam or the Korean War. One Army veteran says we should all talk about that dedication to service a little more, including veterans themselves.
Too many of us don't honor ourselves. We don't talk about our wars. We don't talk about our services. We just don't do it. And that's really a sad thing, I think, because these men and women really served hard, long services. They should really stand up and say, hey, I'm proud I served. I'm proud I served. Very proud of it.
These veterans protected our country in a way that America could continue to be the country that it is. They have defended our democracy from outside threats.
We went out and fought for the brave and the free. And if it wasn't for the Army and the military, there wouldn't be no free.
Not all our veterans came home to a warm welcome. Just ask any of them who served in Vietnam.
That was the hardest part of Vietnam, was the fact that we came home and we were called different names for being there. War is war. We have to preserve our freedom somehow. And if going to war is what it takes, that's what we do.
That's why we pay our respects to veterans this Sunday and thank them for their service when we see them out and about.
We honor our guys because of the fact that they went with us or those that went before us.
In Appleton, Alexandra Burnley, Local 5 News.
Thank you, Alexandra. Veterans were also treated to free drinks at McGinnis Irish Pub and a free lunch at American Legion Post 38 after the ceremony ended. Well, veterans were honored this morning at an elementary school on Green Bay's west side.
And Local 5's Chris Schuler was there as hundreds of young students said thank you.
We can, however, recognize and thank 25 million veterans still living today.
At Keller Elementary School, Veterans Day observances began with the raising of the American flag.
Today is a very special day. Today is the day that we observe Veterans Day.
And then headed into the school's gym to say thank you to American heroes.
For us, it's important that they understand that there are people that made sacrifices so that they can live in the country they live and in the way they live.
This first annual celebration at Keller honored all veterans from the Marines, Coast Guard, and Air Force.
I joined during the time of a draft, but I was not drafted. I did join and enlisted in the Air Force. It was important to me to serve.
Veterans in the Navy and Army, too.
We're all on the same team. We're all on the same team.
Each spoke briefly, trying to drive home to these young students the sacrifices members of the military make every single day.
Keeping us safe, protecting our democracy, the freedoms that we have by the Constitution. That's what they're all working for.
And the reasons they stepped forward when duty called.
It just gives kids a really good sense of why it's so important to celebrate this day.
We need to teach our kids today, I think, about what it means to be a veteran.
And Monday, these children learn directly from those who deserve so much. Reporting in Green Bay, Chris Schuler, Local 5 News.
Thank you, Chris. And Green Bay Police honored veterans today with its Serving Those Who Served event.
Police officers served lunch to veterans at the Veterans Manor in Green Bay as a way to say thank you for those who served and sacrificed for this country. Veterans shared their stories of service with the officers. Police Lieutenant Steve Mahoney called the experience humbling.
This is my first year of doing it, so it's very neat to be out here to talk to the veterans, to hear their different life stories, what they have done. So it's a very unique and humbling and rewarding experience for us.
This was the second year Green Bay Police have put on this event.
Now, for many families, Veterans Day isn't just once a year, it's every day. For the folks at the Military Veterans Museum in Oshkosh, paying tribute to a serviceman or woman is their specialty.
And Local 5's John Dommel gives us a look at Northeast Wisconsin's wartime history.
The Military Veterans Museum features hardware from World War I through the modern day. And vehicles are a major focus at the museum for their part in various Allied war efforts.
It's critical to have those supplies and be able to sustain that without interruption.
And the weapons that preserved our freedom and influenced our modern military are another focus of the museum entirely.
Most of these weapons here were donated by people that actually served in the military. And so whenever they came back from overseas, they went through a process of demilling. And at the very end, they said, well, what do we do with these things? And the best way to do it is they were donated to the museum so other people could educate themselves.
We started in World War I with the standard issue rifle for the doughboys, the Springfield. And then we jumped ahead to World War II for some of the more iconic weapons of the period, such as the M1 Garand.
When you pull the bolt back, you can go ahead and put a 8-round clip in here. And as soon as you release 8 rounds, the clip would fall or pop out, and you can do it.
The distinctive ping sound.
Correct. So you could shoot anywhere from about 40 to 50 rounds per minute, compared to only about 15 rounds with the bolt-action rifle.
Another fan favorite, I'll switch out with you. Okay. You got the Thompson, the M1928 Tommy gun.
Correct. So this one came out shortly again after World War I. This was a intermediate weapon. It shot a .45 caliber cartridge, and it could shoot up to about 150 yards.
With several expansions planned in the years to come, the history on display at the museum will only get richer. Reporting in Oshkosh, John Dommel, Local 5 News.
Thank you, John. And that Military Veterans Museum is open Friday through Sunday from 10 till 5 p.m.
As we go to break, we hear more from the men and women who served our country.
We're all veterans. We all did raise our hand once upon a time and say, yes, I will serve this country of ours.